the refugees from the Low Country had moved into Aiken. And General Wheeler of the Confederate staff decided to make a stand in Aiken because the cavalry from the Union side was coming towards Augusta. Augusta had the world's largest powder mill at that time. In fact, the Confederate soldiers, they starved, they never had shoes, but they never had want of gunpowder. The Augusta mill always provided them more than enough gunpowder. So that was a prime military target. Wheeler decided, the Confederate general decided to make a trap for Kilpatrick using the town as a shield. He had his men on side streets where they'd be shielded by trees as well as the buildings. And once Kilpatrick, the Union general, marched into town, then he would collapse, kind of like the jaws of an alligator. He would just clap it shut and destroy the Union general. Meanwhile, General Kilpatrick, he was real cocky, braggart. He was a young man who carried a lot of women with him in uniform. He was very fond of Private Charlie and Private Billy, or whatever his name was, but they always wondered why the general would be seen with his arm around these two subordinates. Well, they were ladies, and he carried both of them. He also managed to pick up a Chinese lady in Georgia and moved from Georgia to Savannah and then crossed to South Carolina. And she was his laundress, and by the time she got to Aiken, she was pregnant. He later dumped her in North Carolina. Over in Lexington, South Carolina, he picked up a young lady who was supposedly the most beautiful piece of horse flesh, quote unquote, in the state of South Carolina. She was a beautiful woman. Her name was Marie Boozer. And to anybody here from the Boozer family, I have to throw in a side note, she was adopted by the family, so she wasn't a real Boozer. But anyway, she linked up with General Kilpatrick, and they were seen in a carriage, and his head would be in her lap, and she followed him all the way into North Carolina before he dumped her. But in North Carolina, Wade Hampton had a plantation surrounded, and Kilpatrick and Marie Boozer were in a house, and so when the activity started going, she comes running out of the house in her underwear, and a Confederate soldier grabs her and throws her to the ground to keep her from being shot. A few seconds later, General Kilpatrick comes out in his long johns, and a Confederate cavalryman ran up to him and asked him, which way did the general go? And he had the presence of mind to say, well, he went that way. And General Kilpatrick escaped capture, and he said in his diary that he